Always aim for the biggest fish in the pond and nothing less, because it's going to take a lot of resources to get wherever you're going, especially time. So you might as well aim at the highest possible goal. This is a big concept that Jordan Peterson talks about and a lot of other speakers nowadays, that there's no reason to aim low. You've heard the quotes from just like common knowledge of shoot for the stars and you'll land on the moon or whatever it is, right? I love this concept because anything worth building is going to take around a year to 2 years. You've seen some companies, like I just watched this video from My First Million, and they were talking to the founder of Native, right? And he did this exit for $100 million for a deodorant company, and it took him like 3 years or something like that. And actually, I don't even know how long it took him, but let's say it took him 3 years. So building a company, if he would have just said like, okay, I'm going to be the largest local brand for deodorant in the state of Minnesota, right? Well, he can build the Minnesota brand and like make something really niche and, go to all the local farmers markets and sell out at all the different mom and pop, like health fitness shops and gyms and everything like that, right? And if that was his goal, he would accomplish it. In 3 years' time, he would be in every single place in Minnesota. And it'd be great. He'd be making a certain amount of money, whatever it is, right? But he'd be missing out on all those opportunities along the way that could have helped him scale to something bigger if he would have just changed his perspective a tad bit. Because, if I live in Minnesota, right, and I'm trying to make a deodorant company for the entire country, versus if I live in Minnesota and I'm trying to make one for the entire state of Minnesota, they both start in my local area, right? But then along the way, there's certain decisions that change the outcome, the path of where I'll end up. I love this concept of the direction is the destination. And so if you're on the direction, if you're headed towards something that's not that great, it's just mediocre, it's whatever it is, that's where you'll end up, right? And so you really have to take hold of yourself, take stock and say, where am I headed? What is the vision, the thing that's propelling me forward? And why would I aim for anything less than the absolute best that I could ever do with my life? There was another episode from My First Million talking about Mr. Beast when they got in a room with him at this basketball camp that they went to. It's a new favorite podcast of mine, so I'll be quoting them quite often over the next couple of weeks. But they said that they were in a room with people, all millionaires, right? Because My First Million, that's the whole concept. And some of these guys had $100 million. Others had $10 million real estate portfolios. This guy over here had a company, Mr. Beast, 100 million subscribers, right? And you have all these incredible people, and they were asking people in the room, who in here has a clear vision of where they want to go? And about 60 to 80% raised their hand. And then who in here like reinvest all their money into their business? Who in here has the highest ambition, or like whatever the questions were? Basically, they got down to where the very last person to have their hand up was Mr. Beast. And I think it was the question like, who in here would is so dedicated they would put all of their money back into it, or has already put all their money back into it. Anyways, I want to be that. I want to have that level of ambition. They said that it was uncomfortable to be in the room with Mr. Beast at points because of the ambition that he had. And it was a thing that they looked up to him, right? They aspired to. Now, of course, Sean and Sam, the guys who run this podcast, they have families and they've already done successful company exits. But can you imagine them now looking back on their 20-year-old self? If they could have just told their 20-year-old self, aim higher. You have the skill set. You have the ability to become something great. Just aim higher and you'll get there. There's two concepts I want to go into. One is that big dreams attract high-level talent and high-level support and all of these different things, right? Like begets like. And then as well, a lot of people stumble into success, but I think, I had a great point with this and I absolutely lost it. A lot of people stumble into success. Imagine if you oriented your decisions toward the highest possible thing from the start, then you might stumble into the greatest amount of success that you could achieve with your life, right? Okay, so then maybe I'll talk about those two in a different video, but I just want to leave you with this. The other night, my buddy Tyler and I, we were on a phone call, and our nightly phone calls, we talk about business questions, life, philosophical, just basically trying to figure out how are we going to win this life with the limited amount of time that we have. And we were like, this is a recurring question we've asked, but what is the impact that you want to leave? What do you want to be known for? What do you want to do in your lifetime? What's your craziest ambition? All of these questions stem from the same thing of who are you going to be on your deathbed, right? I want to change billions of lives. That was my answer to him. I want to change the course of billions of people. Because why would I aim for anything less, right? There are 8 billion people on this planet right now, somewhere around that number. We're probably going to be at 10 billion by the end of this decade. And a lot of people are saying that it's going to slope and go back down because depopulation and all these different things, right? Why would I ever try to just impact one person, which is great. You want to start with one. 1 billion starts with one, right? But if I can impact one person, if I can change their life, they're not so special to where that's the only person that's going through that exact circumstance or something very similar, where the piece of advice that I'm giving them would be exponentially helpful, or whatever the word is, for other people in a very similar scenario. Because of that, why would I limit myself to just helping 1,000 people in my life, or one person, or 10,000, or whatever it is? I want to find the things that billions of people are struggling with, right? The biggest problems that every person faces in their day-to-day life. I want to find those problems and I want to tackle them. Because not only are they the best, when you're starting a company and you're thinking of ideas, you try to look for the greatest market. So you either have a niche market that will pay a lot for something, or the market with the greatest amount of consumers or purchasers, right? High volume or high value, one of those two, right? Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. I think the high value one has the greatest impact. I know this because if you can change 1% of one person's life, and that is something that is universally shared with everyone in the world. Let's say how people think, or what they do when they wake up, or whatever this 1% action is that every person does every single day, maybe the quality of food that they eat, right? If you can change that 1%, you just made the world 1% better. If it is actually implemented, that's absurd. We say these numbers, right? I want you to think about that. If you just change someone's life by 1%, and it's a universally accepted problem, and then you implement that solution at scale, you just change the world by 1%. What does that look like? If you got 1% more efficient for the entire world, you just increased the global GDP by 1%. So what is the global GDP? Probably like $100 trillion or something like that. I have no idea. You just added $1 trillion of value. I can't even comprehend what that number even means. That's the power that's within you. If you accept the responsibility and the necessity to aim your life at the greatest possible good that you could ever attain, wholeheartedly. Big dreams honor God. So God honors big dreams. That was a devotion that I read the other day. And whether or not you believe in God, if you just believe in the universe or whatever it is, the universe will honor you. God will honor you. Other people will honor you. Yourself will honor, will respect, revere. You will respect yourself, is what I was trying to say with that last one. If you go after big dreams and actually take strides toward them. Because if you fail, you got at least some success or learned a life lesson of some sort that will help you in all other areas of life. But if you succeed, the pure confidence that you'll have, it will just bleed into every other area of your life, and you will be an unstoppable force of good in this world. So go after the big fish in the pond. Do not settle for the small, minuscule dreams, and do not be on the fence. Do not allow yourself to be distracted or busied through this life, because you could be the most talented person in the world. You could be the next Elon Musk. And by busying yourself, or by not asking these questions, not setting it up in time, you might lose out on the opportunity that has been gifted to you, right? There's 8 billion people in this world, and you definitely have something in you that makes you uniquely capable to make an impact on this world. Your experiences and your genetic makeup are different than everyone else. So there is something in you that could impact everyone universally. So commit your life to finding out what that is. Commit your life to the greatest possible goal, and every step along the way will be the highest possible reward. That's what Peterson says. Some great wisdom. Hopefully some of what I said is interesting. But comment down below. I want to read through these. What is the greatest possible thing you could commit your life to? And once you have that knowledge of it, you can't commit to anything less. You got to just commit to that. I know that I could impact billions of people, so I got to commit my life to finding every possible way to make that happen. And it's a fun weight that's just put on you, because there's that pressure of every single day, I got to get up. I used to wake up at like 10 a.m., 10:30 every single morning. There's a whole year where I was doing that when I was a little bit confused right out of college, because right after I dropped out of college. And I woken up at like 6 in the morning every single day for the past week, right? That's a lie. Like 3 out of the 7 days. That's huge though. That's a big impact on my life, is that with this pressure of I've got this woodworking investment, or I've got this the 50 states and 50 marathons video or series that I'm doing, 200 countries on the horizon, right? This merch brand that I want to start. All of these greatest possible things that are on my mind are kind of pushing me to get out there and actually do things, because I know that I won't be able to accept anything less than success, than the highest possible good. So now I carry myself every single day looking for the greatest opportunity, not just something that will get me by. The 1%ers will add up, so you still look for those, but aim for the big. Aim for the highest possible good. I'm rambling, so I'll end it here. It's a great life if you choose to make it so. See ya.